Peace. What's the science, universal family? On another glorious day of the science of living mathematics. And today is a special day because it's the first of the month, the beginning of a new cycle. And on top of that, it is the first video that I'm going to post on my YouTube channel to kind of start gearing up towards my podcast. Now, what I look forward to these videos is that I'm not gonna build while looking at the time to make sure I only do 5 to 10 minutes or whatever, because this is gonna be on YouTube. You watch in your own discretion, you watch the own time. You know, I'm getting a lot of feedback that they want to be able to hear me while they're driving and all that, so I'll just build, and the build is gonna go as long as I got something to say. You know what I mean? I'm not just gonna try to rush and finish things up. But with that being said, let's bring it back to the above. And with today's mathematics is what? Knowledge. Knowledge represents 1. And what is 1 in your alphabet? The first letter. A. A in the supreme alphabet is what? A stands for Allah. Allah. A-double-L-A-H. Now let's break it down. What is knowledge? Knowledge is information. It is your determined idea. It is your foundation. It is symbolic to man, symbolic to the sun, as the sun is the bringer of light. And that light is information, the knowledge, the awareness. And let's go about breaking it down. Because we have to look at knowledge, the word knowledge, right? And you break it down to its root words. Know, edge, or ledge. Know the ledge. Know your limit. You got to be aware of self. You got to be aware of the things that is around you. To be conscious is to have life. Understand? This is how you can determine what is something living or non-living. Does it have a conscience? Does it have a determined idea of what it's doing? Like a programming. You understand? And how does this relate to Allah? Allah is the all within all. It is the source of all things. It's like knowledge. All things come from one, the foundation. And as a law, it is the foundation, and it is also the most high within self, all throughout self. You understand what I'm saying? You know, brothers break it down as arm, leg, arm, head, you know, using it as an acronym. And I get that makes sense, and I can see it as a good way to practice your supreme math, you know, the language and the supreme alphabet. You know what I'm saying? Just walk in and talk it. But what Allah is not just a name. It is a definition of your higher self. Because you and the universe is one and the same, and this is something that I've always built about. As above, so below. And Allah represents all that is encompassing within you. And with this awareness, which takes time, because it took time to make our people forget through slavery and all the things that we have gone through. When it says that man fell from grace, this is what it's talking about. We fell from up here, where God arts in the sky, right here in the firmament. We fell from the heavens above of a higher thinking, and we fell down to our lower self, to the lower plane, where our body's desires, our passions rules. And if you think about that, all this stuff in the Bible and the Quran, all that, all these things is symbolic. It's telling you a story basically about you. And you got to be able to discern and take things out and do the knowledge. Right? What's important about doing the knowledge? Right? Many parents, we will tell our kids, just, it's not your place. Just listen. And this happens a lot because sometimes you got to stop and try to put your 2 cents in a conversation. It could be because you're self-conscious about something, you want to be heard, you need to be heard. And sometimes you just got to do the knowledge. Sometimes you just got to listen. Look, listen, observe, and what? Respect is what knowledge is. And when somebody tells you, yo, just do the knowledge, just shut your mouth and listen. Try to grab as much information as you can. And then when you go home later on that day, you could start breaking these things down in your head and what they mean. You understand what I'm saying? So the application of knowledge is very important because it is the first step. Like I said, it's the determined idea. And if you don't have a determined idea, or your determined idea is not to gain further knowledge, then you're not taking the first steps. Because if you're going into a conversation just so you can sound smart, because I've heard of this before, I like to learn new things so I can sound smart in conversations. This, what? At least for my personality, that doesn't make any sense at all. Because why do I need you to think that I'm smart? 2, it's not really learning. It's not really doing the knowledge. All you're doing is memory. You know what I'm saying? Memorizing stuff. Yes, and one of the first steps of knowledge, of knowing, is memorization. Because if you can commit something to memory, you can always bring it up at any time. And you can always think about these things in your own time, while you're at work, while you're at home. Maybe you wake up in the middle of the night and something just dawned and you're like, oh, wow, you know what I'm saying? I could relate it to this. You know what I mean? And this is how we break down today's mathematics. Things that happen each and every day, we can look at it and be like, oh, I could see this degree and how it relates to such and such. You know what I mean? And you have to pay attention, do the knowledge, and it's not just doing the knowledge for things outside of yourself. Like I said, you gotta also within and throughout you, because you have to know your ledge. You have to know what you are capable of at that point in time and see what the things you need to improve on and things that you need to take away. Right? Because knowledge means to know. But to know what? Most importantly, you got to get to know self. As I said before, maybe you're questioning, what does it mean? What do you mean it's symbolic to the man? Symbolic to the sun? Symbolic to the thought? Well, how is it symbolic to the sun? Right? Man and sun is the same being, just in different forms. Right? We're the central unit. And no, I'm not talking about this whole patriarchal system. It's just designed to denote function and what we're physically capable of in protection. And I'm not going to get into whether most men do this or not, whatever. This is those who carry out their purpose, right? Because let's not say just because you got a kid doesn't mean that you are raising your child. You could just be there and be a deadbeat parent. And what I'm coming from is the duty of man, and it's to be the central unit of his family, to provide that light and heat, just as the sun does. Just as the sun is the center of the solar system, and it provides the light and heat. right? That heat comes in the form, let's say, of emotion, the emotional stability, and the light is information, the sense of security, that many people seek. And as knowledge, information is light, being able to be aware, because in darkness you're not aware of what's around you. Shining light upon this area, lighting it up, you can see, and now you are aware of what's around you. And that, in the sense, is the light, the knowledge, as thought, because you are the source. You are the foundation of what? Yourself. Your thought is based off the information that you know. Just how you have abstract thinking and concrete thinking. Abstract is just grabbing different ideas that it doesn't form, let's say, the rules don't apply per se. The rules of society and your morals or whatever is just abstract. It's almost alien, foreign per se. And then the concrete is things that are solid, things that it's ready to be used in the physical realm per se. We can get deeper on this at another time about abstract thought, concrete thought. But I just wanted to break down with you guys on the first day of the cycle, and I waited to do this on the first because I figured, this is an important time at the beginning, being able to finally push forward. And the way I look at it, and many ask, how come you just don't do your podcast right away? Because design wise, I'm very meticulous when it comes to that. The way I look at things is like through a frosted glass per se, and all I see is the shadow, the silhouette. And as I start to formulate the ideas and what I want the background to look, the ambiance to be, it starts to get clearer and clearer. It's almost like that frost starts to melt off. And then once I see a clear picture, boom, I go ahead. And me, I'm a builder. There's certain props I want to have, certain designs I want to do, and I go ahead and I just start working on it. And little by little, I take my time with it because there's no reason to rush. And I want to be able to do this for y'all. Something that you guys can listen to while you're doing something. I haven't decided on how long each session will be, but I'm deciding about half hour. And when I have, guests come in, 45 minutes to an hour, depending on what the topic is. But I'm here as a builder, as a teacher, to just provide what I know, things that I think about, because I noticed since I was young, since I had knowledge of myself, to understand things around me and within me, I took that time to go ahead and think these things through. And I'm not saying that I don't make mistakes or anything like that, because to say that you don't make mistakes is unrealistic. Not in the sense because, no, everybody makes mistakes. I don't like to look at that because that's projecting. That's basically saying because I can't be perfect, you can't be perfect. And I don't look at it like that. What it is that it's very high expectations to think that you're going to bat 1,000, which means perfect, when you encounter something new. And many times we're always encountering something new. New ideas come in, new information, and you absorb that information, that knowledge. And you have to be able to process it the best that you can and then apply it, right? You got to, through the wisdom, right? So I take the time to look at these things. And I have looked at what vices I have and worked on those vices my way. And through many arguments, people's like, that's not how you do it. And again, I'm not like that. I'm not here to tell you this is how you do it. See, because the knowledge I bring is to show you this is what I did. This is what this knowledge did for me. And I'm going to share that with you. You make the ultimate decision whether you want to take that path or find your own way. And that's what it's about. Because this knowledge is about you. It's called knowledge of self. It's not knowledge about me. It's knowledge of self. It's your own journey. And I cannot tell you. Nobody else can tell you how to walk your path. You understand? And you might get into arguments with people. You might make friends. You might lose friends because of that. Because they won't understand what you're doing. Because they might not be there yet. They might not be at the ledge yet. They haven't reached that edge of them yet. And that is totally fine. Because you are held responsible from the moment you what? Know. The moment you become aware, you are held responsible. And it's important for you guys to see that. And this is all you can do. Because look at throughout religion, people always constantly fighting. Many wars have always been fought based on beliefs in religion. You know what I'm saying? And you can't sit there and force your ideals on somebody else. All you can do is explain how these ideals helped you become a better person. And the person decides if they want to go through those ideals, make some modification to those ideals that best fits them. All I can do is be real. And it's what I expect from everyone, to be real with what? Not with me. You be real with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. See? Because that's what a law is. Law is the knower of all things. And that, when you do something, how they always say, oh, God would always know. It's because your higher self would always be there just waiting until you become aware. So, I'm going to leave you out with that thought. With that foundation of today's mathematics. And every day, I want y'all to think, what is the science of living mathematics today? How can I apply today to me? What do I see around me that can apply to self? Or what can I do to help things or people around me, or do things around you? You know what I mean? It is important. Just got so much to say. I don't know, I'm still used to looking at the time and all that, but I want y'all to always do the knowledge. If you don't know, ask. But most importantly, sometimes all you can do is just listen. Learn. It's okay to just always be present and not have to say something. As an introvert, and other introverts out there, we understand that, and it's something that extroverts always say, oh, but raise your hand, ask questions. It's like, nah, I'm good. I'm listening. I'm present. And that's good enough. Because again, it's about me. I'm not here to fulfill your ideals. I'm here to fulfill mine. And in my journey. And my path is going to take me to places that others will not understand. Regardless to whether it damages your relationship with others. Because as long as it's about self-growth in a positive format, others are not going to see that path. And that's okay. I know I keep saying that. And I stress this enough because it's something that you might encounter. I was like, oh, why you always this? Oh, you don't do this anymore. It's like, nah, I'm just paying attention. I have this story one time, many years ago, was with my older sister. It was in New York where she lived at the time, and I forget exactly the details what we were building on. But what I remember is telling her, just do the knowledge. She's like, what do you mean? I remember we just got outside, and I was like, just listen. I think we were talking about life. She's like, what do you mean? All I hear is cars, birds, people running, all this stuff. I was like, yeah, just listen. Stop trying to process all these things that you're listening to. Oh, okay, that's a car, that's a taxi, that's, you know what I mean? Just do the knowledge. As a whole, do the knowledge and listen at everything. And then at the time, she didn't understand what I'm saying. So all I hear is noise. You see, for me, it was a different experience because, like I said, I took the time during my late teens to do the knowledge to all these things. This is why, and something I gotta work on, and I'll be honest, is that when I'm building and somebody chimes in on something that they definitely don't know anything about, maybe they just Googled it or something like that, or I'm just providing my opinions. It's like, yo, in the face of knowledge, opinions and beliefs don't matter, right? Like, have you taken the time to process this information that you're trying to talk about, or are you just trying to be part of the conversation? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you take all the time to study, process this information, apply it to self, decades, and then here comes somebody who just heard about it in a rap song or something, and they want to go ahead and sit there and try to debate you or whatnot. Yeah, you can say, oh, you can ignore, you can all this, but to me, what we call is a sword fight, just going back and forth is a good way to exercise for me. I could entertain it depending on what it is. I entertain it because it's always practice to how I can recall my mental arsenal, and not just to kind of shut you up, but in the sense of like, let's see if I still remember all these things that I've learned. Let's see how I apply it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's knowledge. And don't be afraid that what you know now might change over time. What you like to do now might change over time based on the information that you have gained, especially about self. Probably things that you have locked within that you've been putting off to the side because you're waiting for the better days for you to be able to talk about these things to self or whatever. Just sit there. What I tell people is, you don't have to smoke, you don't have to drink to really go through something that's painful and recall that information. I know for me, when I've gone through my painful moments, I made sure I didn't do any of that. And for you guys that don't know me, I don't drink and I don't smoke. And I've always made sure that I didn't process, let's say, a breakup or anything like that, or being high or drunk or anything like that, because you got to go through them. You have to go through them, and that's what makes you stronger. All you're doing, you're not reaching your ledge. You're not knowing the ledge of self, and you're not using your higher self, which is Allah, to be able to process this information. All you're doing is grabbing the drama, whatever it is, the brick, and you're throwing it forward in your path, and eventually you're going to come upon it again. But what's happening in is going to be harder for you, because now you're going to have more stuff that you build up throughout your journey, and then now you got this, so now it's become heavy, and all what you're doing is grabbing whatever else you got, putting it together again with the old stuff, and you're throwing it in front of you again. Now this is a bigger boulder that you got to deal with. Instead of processing that, because it's going to help you become stronger, and not the whole, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. No. What it is, it's more like having the emotions as a muscle, right? If you don't use it, it atrophies. and being able to process these emotions, especially for us men in society where we're taught not to show those emotions, but our daughters, our wives, our mothers, our sisters, they need us to reciprocate emotion while we communicate with them. And how can we do if we never practice how to feel those emotions, how to feel that? You're not a lesser of a man because you express emotion. And that's something we got to get away from. And for women, don't tell men to express their emotions, and then when they do, you chastise them on it. Because how many of us men have gone through, it's like, oh, you don't show me no emotions, you never show me anything, you don't smile, you don't do, and then when you do, it's like, you acting like a little bitch. It's like, it's the first time I cry to you and shit, and then that's what you calling me. So what happens? We just shut down right back. All those doors, like Fort Knox, just closed right back up. I was like, okay, see, I thought I could open up to you, and then not. And this is important. And this is why I say knowledge of self is key, because you got to get to know yourself when it comes to these emotions and your thought patterns. See where these things come from. Your trauma. Figure out why. And I know I built about this last time. I was talking about eggplants. I can't do it, man. Me and eggplant got beef. Because my parents used to make us eat that. And it's just a psychological thing. I don't care how you cook it. I don't care how good it is and how good it smells. As soon as I take a bite of it, just go bananas, and I understand that. Is that something that I want to get over? Nah, because I don't care. I don't want to eat eggplant. I just, at this state, is what I'm saying. Things might change. With new knowledge, new information, new growth and development, that might change. I will come back to my mom's like, yo, mom, look at this. I made an eggplant sandwich. It was good. You want half? But again, it's a fun journey, but it is a lonely one. The path of God is a lonely one. Doesn't matter if you're a twin. Doesn't matter how much the other person says that they love you or not, whatever. This is a path for you. It is a rite of passage to what? To you, to your inner self. So that way you find your higher self throughout you. I keep saying throughout, not within, because God is not a separate entity that exists inside of you somewhere like a parasite. No. It's what you are. It's coming into being. It's like activating the Super Saiyan. It's always been within you. You just gotta find it. I don't want you out there going there and screaming up, trying to power up or something like that. No. You're not gonna find it like that. Especially not through anger. So, I want y'all to do the knowledge. Okay? For today, do the knowledge for me. And please, now that I'll be posting these on YouTube, leave comments, leave questions, suggestions, anything, constructive feedback, all that. I would like to post eventually the videos I did from the very beginning, back in July. And just because I like to see the evolution of how when I first did this, I was shy, be around people. And I still get, if I was building like this and people just kind of look at me, what is he doing? But I've always been shy. Some of y'all that kind of know me, but like, no, he's not. But I am. You could kind of see I wasn't looking at the camera as much. I was kind of talking a little more quiet. But now you see me, I'm here moving, saying my hands waving like crazy. It is what it is. I'm comfortable now. Especially I'm in my home, my sanctuary. You know what I'm saying? I still got more to build up there. As you guys can see, it's going to look fly. And it serves as inspiration. Just with the lights, the ambiance, the sounds, And the next it's got the aromatherapy. I got my air diffuser on with certain oils combinations because I like, mix. It's like a chemist. You can just combine all these things together, and it's about creating a peaceful space for yourself where you can think about you and do the knowledge to you, because you are knowledge. You are information for yourself. You are a library, a cornucopia of knowledge for yourself. And it's a journey. And I want you guys to reach that point. You know what I'm saying? And see that you can rely on yourself instead of relying on things that are outside of yourself. You know what I mean? Rely on yourself, rely on your skills. And if not, develop those skills, man. And with that, I'm gonna say peace. I'm just trying to prolong it because I like the music going on in the background. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. Knowledge. Do it. Peace.